Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of D&D CR Exposed. On today's episode we are looking at the Rust Monster from the Monster Manual 2025 edition. But before we get into looking at the monster, let's take a quick look at the business, and that is the tool here. If you'd like to use this tool for your very self, making custom awesome monsters, then go ahead and go down to the coffee link in the description below to grab yourself this tool completely for free, or donate if you feel so inclined to. After that, there are a bunch of subclasses, classes, monsters, and other various things at my shop that you can also support the channel with, or you can also support the channel by becoming join as a membership here on YouTube, or as a coffee supporter there for as little as $1 a month to get early access and videos, as well as liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing. All those would be greatly appreciated. And now with the business out of the way, let's get into looking at this monster. Now, our Rust Monster here is a CR 1/2. So let's go ahead and change this to 1/2, which we then will start throwing in all the information of an AC 14, with it being a medium monster, which I thought maybe this was small. I've never actually used a Rust Monster before myself. May have fought one, but I don't remember. It's been quite a long time. From there, we are expecting 6 hit dice and for a total of 33 hit points with the following stats of Strength 13, Dex 12, 13 Con, 2 Intelligence, 13 Wisdom, and 6 Charisma. From there, we have nothing in the senses area, and we move down to the traits. So Iron Scent, the Rust Monster can pinpoint locations of metal, ferrous metal, and doesn't really impact the CR. So we will move on to the actions. Here we have multi-attack, and the Rust Monster can make 1 bite and uses its antennae twice. So the attack roll for our bite is going to be a +3, coming either from strength or dexterity. It looks like it doesn't necessarily matter. Either one is perfectly fine because we're getting the same bonuses there. So we'll leave our attack bonus to 3, and then we do get 1 point of damage here, or 5.5 for the bite attack. And I'm saying 5.5 because when we have odd numbers of dice, we have to remember to add in that half die. It's extremely important when we have multi-attack, just for that reason, because then we get like 1 extra point of damage on average. From there, we are then looking at the antennae. The Rust Monster targets 1 non-magical metal object, armor or weapon, carried by someone. They have to make a dex save, and the creature with the object, the creature with the object that is holding makes that save. On a failure, the object takes an AC penalty, -1 or so, and is destroyed once the AC drops to 10. Weapon, same deal. Once the penalty reaches -5, the sword or weapon is destroyed. So, surprisingly enough, our antennae really isn't doing too much in the form of damage to the characters, although making them destroy their weapons. Now, if we have a fighter, that's not a big deal, as the fighter probably should have multiple weapons with them. They are fighters for exactly that reason, where they can use piercing, slashing, bludgeoning weapons for any such instances of need. If a monster's vulnerable to a particular type of weapon, which D&D doesn't really lean too heavily on in the 5th edition, you could have that. So antennae may not necessarily be doing anything here. It might give some defensive capabilities, or maybe some effective offensive capabilities, but beyond that, I'm not entirely sure at the moment. Next, we have Destroy Metal. The Rust Monster touches a non-magical metal object within 5 feet of it, and destroys 1 foot cube of that object. So, yeah, can just outright destroy your non-magical weapon and armor, unless it wiggles its antennae. And then lastly, we have the reaction Reflexive Antennae. The trigger an attack roll hits the Rust Monster. Response: the Rust Monster uses antennae. So yeah, we are definitely heavily leaning on this. So antennae, Destroy Metal, and Reflexive Antennae aren't really doing anything, although it's good to note the wording here. For Reflexive Antennae, we have a trigger and we have a response. So that's pretty nice that they've used this to help reduce the amount of text in our features here. Okay, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and throw in our information here, and that's pretty much it. There's not much to this monster, which means the antennae is doing a lot of heavy lifting here that we can't really calculate. Okay, so a little look behind the scenes here, as I paused briefly, but you didn't notice anything, was that antennae and reflexive antennae here are actually giving our monster a bonus to their AC and their attack bonus. And what I mean is that as the antennae targets a person's armor, they're reducing the armor by -1 each time the dexterity save is failed, which means when their AC goes down by 1, technically their attack bonus goes up by 1. And when the target's weapon attack bonus goes down by 1, the Rust Monster's AC goes up by 1. So there is this actual counterbalance, and it does generally increase the Rust Monster's bonuses here. So what I'm going to say is that because the reflexive antennae can be used upwards of, I'm going to go with, well, yeah, we're going to see this 3 times in 1 round of combat, and we can do this 3 times unless the Rust Monster is destroyed. We're going to say, on average, probably +2. I'll say maybe, we could do 2 AC and 1 attack bonus, or 2 attack bonus and 1 AC, but we should probably look into those lines here, or shoot, who knows? We could even say just +2 for each of these for the sake of arguments, or for argument's sake here. So let's go ahead and throw in +2 each for all the rounds of combat here. And when we do that, our Rust Monster does hit CR 1/2 if and only if we get 2 AC and 2 attack bonus reduced on our targets here. Beyond that, we might start to see higher. So for some reason, after 3 full rounds of combat, we've been able to reduce the targets by 3 AC and 3 attack bonus. Now we're an even 1/2. If we can go even as high as 9, let's see what happens with 9. If we somehow are able to get all 9, which would leave us with probably 4 AC and 5 attack bonus, we're going as high as a CR1, but that's in the most extreme cases where every time the party fails here and they lose the ACs and whatnot. I would more be inclined to say like 3 seems pretty reasonable here, and even 2. 2 is generally the average that I think D&D likes to go with here. So 3, probably a good expectation here of all the potential uses after 3 rounds of combat. And yeah, we would see pretty much a CR 1/2 here. So I'd hazard to guess that this is a pretty even monster here with this CR 1/2 rating, which is good to see. So provided your Rust Monster actually gets the antennae to work properly, or just outright destroys a piece of metal, then you're looking pretty good here. Otherwise, it's just an annoyance more so than anything because of how low the damage is on itself. So it's more just to aggravate our players. All right, thank you all so much for watching this episode of the Rust Monster, and I will see you in the next one.